Hello, and welcome to The Beat, a news and talk program brought to you by the Center for Community Media at Worcester State University. This introduction has been pre-recorded for future episodes due to the unforeseen circumstances that the pandemic may bring. We hope you enjoy this segment.
Hi, Joe. Once again, thank you for doing this interview. I really appreciate it. Glad we could finally get something worked out.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Mac.
Yeah,
Happy to
no
help out any
worries.
way I can.
Sweet. So I'm just going to start off. If you could just state your name and your position.
Sure. My name is Joe Bradlee, and I'm the Vice President of Baseball Operations and Community Relations for the Worcester Red Sox.
As the Vice President of Baseball Operations and Community Relations, can you tell us what you are actually responsible for within the organization?
Sure. There's about 40 of us, and we all wear several different hats for the most part. I think that's sort of why you see the two different areas in my title itself. The baseball side of my job, it's really myself and sort of an army of us that make sure all of the facilitation between Boston and our AA affiliate in Portland with the Red Sox players go smoothly. So working with guys like Bill Wanless, who we just mentioned, our manager, Billy McMillan, the Red Sox player development staff in Boston, our clubhouse staff, there's really sort of a large group of people behind the scenes that make sure that all that player facilitation goes smoothly, as well as, getting the players out in the community and things like that. So that's sort of what my job from a player relations and the baseball side looks like. And then on the community end, overseeing all of our community outreach programs and everything that we're doing in the community. We also recently launched our PawSox Foundation. So I'm involved with the foundation as well. And Worcester's really been a city and a community that's welcomed us with open arms. And I'm certainly one of the guys on our end who's connecting with as many nonprofit groups and organizations in the community as possible. So, as I said at the beginning, there's a lot of us who sort of wear multiple different hats within the organization, and I'm certainly one of them.
I mean, as someone who's in the Worcester community, kind of grown up here, it's, I can kind of speak from everyone else saying we're happy to have the team here to add a whole different aspect to things to do in the city. Now, were you involved with the PawSox at all when they were down in Pawtucket, or when they moved to Worcester, where you were like a new hire?
Yeah, no, I sure was. So I sort of got my foot in the door with the Red Sox organization back in 2012. I was an intern in ballpark operations. And when I graduated from Union College in 2014, I was fortunate enough to have a job waiting for me in public affairs and community relations. So it's kind of funny because they got rid of me, won the World Series in 2013. And then when I came back in 2014, they were in last place again. So it was just sort of funny how that worked out. But I spent the remainder of 2014 and all of 2015 in Boston. And then when Larry Lucchino had stepped down as president of the Red Sox, he had assembled a group of owners to acquire the PawSox, the AAA club. And after that sale, that sort of caused a lot of young guys like myself to go down. There was probably about 4 or 5 of us or so. I shouldn't say all young, because our team president, Dr. Charles Steinberg, also made the transition as well. So 2020 actually would have been my 5th season with, primarily with the AAA club. And now we're, getting ready to have our inaugural season here in Worcester. So that's kind of what my journey within the Red Sox organization has looked like. And again, it started all the way back in 2012.
Gotcha. How difficult would you say it's been from transitioning the team and the organization as a whole from Pawtucket to Worcester?
Yeah, I think anytime you're relocating a team, there's certainly challenges within that present itself. We spent over 3 years trying to keep the team in Rhode Island. We didn't think that Worcester was even going to become a reality. Larry Lucchino and our owners made a commitment to keep the team in Pawtucket and build a new ballpark for 30 years. And there was a proposal that proposal passed through the Senate in Rhode Island, but due to delays and challenges that we faced in the House, that didn't come to fruition. So that gave other cities across New England the opportunity to sort of swoop in and make offers for us and woo us, if you will. But I think all of us from the beginning, felt that Worcester would make the most sense. Certainly the geographical location, we're still under an hour from Boston, and I think we know that the Red Sox view that as a competitive advantage as well. So I think we're very fortunate and thankful to still be staying in the area. A lot of times with sales and new ballparks being built, a lot of times you'll see minor league teams move across the country. And thankfully we're not moving from Pawtucket to Idaho. We're only moving to Worcester, which is again less than an hour up 146. So we're still happy to be in the Red Sox market, so to speak. And again, just really looking forward to our inaugural season this year in 2021.
Right. I know you mentioned like the geographical location of Worcester being a draw for the team. Was there any other factors that played into choosing Worcester as the city for the team?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I think there were a number of factors why Worcester made sense. I mean, again, in Worcester, you're talking about the second biggest city in New England with 180,000 people. We think about the colleges as well, Mac. You're at Worcester State. Worcester is such a big college town. That's definitely a big part of it. It was a city that, again, from the get-go, really welcomed us with open arms, from Mayor Petty to Ed Augustus, the city manager, to the leadership at the state level with Karen Polito and Charlie Baker. All of those were factors. And while it's difficult for me to just put my finger on one, there's countless reasons why we're excited about relocating to Worcester and opening up a brand new ballpark, really in the heart of the Commonwealth. And we think it's going to be an opportunity to draw fans, not just from Massachusetts, but from all over New England. You're about an hour from Hartford, Connecticut. We're near the New Hampshire border as well. I think you're going to see fans coming in from Springfield and some of the western towns in Massachusetts. So for all those reasons and more, we're really just looking forward to getting our season underway.
Yeah, absolutely. And Polar Park is in a pretty good area of the city as far as traffic goes, as pedestrians go. That Kelly Square area has kind of been seeing an uptick recently with the addition
Sure.
of Worcester Public Market, and of course the ballpark that's going in. I'm sure a lot of people are excited about. How much anticipated traffic, as far as like fans and people coming in and out of the ballpark and spending time in that area, is the organization anticipating?
Yeah, well, I mean, we want people to be able to enjoy a Woo Sox game at Polar Park and then spill out right into that Kelly Square neighborhood and enjoy a meal, have a drink after the game. We want this to be as beneficial as possible for the city of Worcester, and we really think that it will be. You also mentioned the neighborhood. We're also about a 8-minute walk from Union Station, the train station. We didn't have that luxury in Pawtucket, which was about a 10 or a 15-minute drive to Providence. So a lot of our fans that would try and come and take public transportation from Boston would have to go directly to Providence and then either drive or Uber to McCoy Stadium, which presented some challenges. So we think that the location of our ballpark right in Kelly Square there is going to make it a little bit more accessible for our fans that'll be making the pilgrimage from Boston or Hartford or Springfield or some of the places that I just mentioned earlier. But we want to be a good partner in Kelly Square too, and really work with as many of those restaurants. We announced what we called a lineup of locals, where we basically announced 9 different restaurants that are going to be in the ballpark, and again, local cuisine, and just an example of how we want to work with as many small businesses and restaurants as possible.
Polar Park, I've been following it off and on about like the development of the area, and I know there was mentioning of different spaces outside of the park that was being added as far as like the whole development of the area. Can you tell me a little bit about what additional spaces the park is going to generate besides just the ball field?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, directly across from the ballpark, you're going to see some biotech space that's going in. I think all of Larry Lucchino's ballparks, wherever he's been, whether it's been Camden Yards in Baltimore, Petco Park in San Diego, and all of the additions and developments he made at Fenway Park, I think everything that he's done wherever he's been has sort of been a catalyst for further redevelopment in the area. And I think you're already starting to see a little bit of that in Worcester. Everything that's going on with the public market has been awesome. I just mentioned that we've got some biotech space that's going in directly across the street from the ballpark on Green Island. You're going to see a hotel going up right there too, on Madison Street, as well as a 350 space parking garage. So those are all things that are going to start getting underway. And we certainly hope that our presence right there in Kelly Square will only cause more development and more interest right in that area. So we'll see what happens, and it's certainly something that we're really excited about.
Right. Yeah. Now on the more baseball side of things, I know I want to touch on that a little bit. How much more popularity in traffic and fan attendees do you expect to see at the games, not the teams located here in Worcester?
Yeah, I think if the number of season ticket holders that we already have is any indication, just to give you a sense, in Pawtucket, we ended our 2019 season with about 750 or so season ticket holders, and in Worcester we already have over 2,000 people who have signed up for season tickets, and we haven't even played a game yet. So we're still awaiting some more guidance from the state as to how many fans we're going to be able to let in to start the season. But certainly whenever we're at 100% capacity and we're able to let as many fans in as we can, I think all of us believe that Worcester is really just going to be a home run. And when we are at 100% capacity, our goal is to sell out as many games as we can. But I do think that season ticket number and just the amount of fans who we've already seen step up and purchase full season plans and half season plans has really just been quite something, and a great sort of indicator, if you will, of what's to come in future years.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely great to see from just someone who's, following the team and setting its roots in this city pretty closely. How do you think that COVID has impacted the organization really setting its roots here in the city?
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely had an impact on us. We're still operating pretty much strictly virtually right now. I mean, certainly out of our 40-person front office, there's a good chunk of us that need to be at the ballpark site pretty regularly. But beyond that, we're pretty much fully remote. And we also, with our lease at McCoy Stadium, for the most part, we don't really have office space in Pawtucket to work out of. There's a couple of us that do still go into Pawtucket here and there, but for the most part, COVID has made us feel like we're kind of nomads. We don't quite have office space that's ready in the ballpark yet. So you see a lot of us that are kind of working out of construction trailers and just at home for the most part. So certainly that's had a big impact. But I think on our community efforts too, it's certainly had an impact on the way we're able to interact with nonprofits. Because they can't have traditional events and fundraisers like we have in the past. And I think you've sort of seen our foundation sort of be nimble and really address the needs that have popped up during the pandemic. I think about food insecurity and what a problem that's been during COVID for so many families across Central Mass. And that was why you saw us at Worcester State MAC. We partnered with Ocean Safe Job Lot, the Mass Military Support Foundation, the Railers came out, the United Way, Girls Inc. I mean, you saw a host of nonprofits in the Worcester area sort of come together, and we had 500 cars come out every Thursday during the month of January at Worcester State, and we were able to get to get food in the hands of people who really needed it most. So I think that, all in all, we've done a great job adapting, both as we get the ballpark ready, but also some of the stuff that you're seeing in our community relations efforts.
Right. Yeah, I remember that, and I was actually really happy that you guys are doing that, kind of, saying community first, baseball second, like we are a part of the city. What adaptations has the team, managers, and all the other staff have to make for the debut in April?
Sure. Well, I think I can sort of speak to what we went through in Pawtucket at the alternate site, if that's any good indication. I mean, certainly the guys are in spring training right now in Fort Myers, all getting ready. But in Pawtucket last summer in 2020, we had about 25 to 30 players working out at McCoy Stadium every single day, scrimmaging, working out against each other. I was one of the guys who would sit outside McCoy Stadium with a thermometer and a temperature gun, and asking them a series of, self-screening questions that we would then submit to the Red Sox and MLB. Back last winter, if you'd told me that that's what my summer was going to look like, I would have told you that you were crazy. But we thankfully had no positive tests at the alternate site, and I think our manager, Floyd McMillan, all of the members of the coaching staff and the Red Sox player development staff really did a good job of sort of keeping guys in check. They would work out, go back to their hotels, and come back to the ballpark, and that was it. That's what their routine was like. So I imagine to start the 2020 season as well, I think you're going to see a lot of the similarities. I think guys are going to come in. It's a job for them, Mac. Like they're going to come in, play games, go back to their hotels or wherever they're living, and come back to the ballpark the next day. You're not going to see them go out quite as much, because I think one thing we've seen firsthand is how serious this stuff is, and I think the Red Sox from the top down really do a good job of getting that message out to their players. And I think we're happy to get the season underway as safely as possible in April.
Right. And before we end, I just want to ask you, is there anything else that you want to mention that we didn't discuss in the interview?
No, I think we're just so excited to finally have our 2021 schedule out. You saw that come out last week. In a typical year, we at least have a blueprint or a snapshot of what our following season is going to look like in the fall. In September or October, November at the latest. But here we are in February, and we didn't even have a schedule until last week. So it was just a really sort of exciting moment for our fans, for all of us. It really, sort of made us realize, wow, baseball is here. Our players are in spring training right now, and they're going to be coming back up to Worcester before you know it. So we couldn't be more excited about it. And I think now we're just going to await guidance from the state and the city and public officials as to how many fans we'll be able to let in at Polar Park, and we'll see what happens from there. So I think that's it, Mac, and I really appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you doing this interview. Looking forward to going to a couple of games in the future.
You bet, Mac. We look forward to having you at Polar Park.
Thank you for watching this segment of The Beat. Please remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We will see you next time.